Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
I started observing that around age 4, 3 to 4. They were starting to dress themselves, pick out their own clothes. And there was just so much innocence and joy in what they were choosing to put on their bodies. And it just really lit an idea up inside of me that our kids should be dressing for joy, not for gender.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice in business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
Are you feeling stretched thin, constantly behind, or guilty no matter how you choose to spend your time? Amy Pierre Russo can help. She's a certified work-life harmony coach dedicated to helping entrepreneurial moms find ease, flow, and fulfillment while reducing stress, guilt, and burnout. Book your free discovery call today and start building a life that works for you. The link is in the show notes.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, thank you, Marta. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm excited for us to dive deeper. We've been talking. We have so many things in common, and you have an amazing mission out there, and I'm so excited to share it with the show and with my listeners. Why don't you kick us off and tell us who you are and what you do?
My name is Elizabeth Brunner, and I am the founder and creative director of Stereotype Kids, which is a gender-inclusive fashion brand inspired by my girl-boy twins, who started sharing clothing at a very young age. I'm also a newly published indie author of a book called Me Is All I Want to Be, which goes with the brand as well.
That is so fun. Well, I would love, obviously we share the commonality of being a mom of multiples, which is a whole crazy journey in itself. But I would love to hear the backstory, like obviously having the kids prompted your business and the name of the business, but tell me more about, getting on with it. I know there's different steps that entail starting a business. So tell us more about the backstory.
Gosh. Well, I started, we do have a commonality of being a mom of multiples, which, is a really interesting journey from the very start. And for me, when I first found out I was having twins and having a boy and a girl, I was inundated with pink and blue, just nonstop. And there was a lot of joy behind it. People were really happy and excited for me. But that's not really where I wanted to take my journey with my kids. I wanted them to just, wear any colors that they wanted to. So when they were born, I was pretty, self-aware that I was not going to be dressing them in traditional clothing colors. But actually what really kicked off the journey was when they started dressing themselves. So my daughter loved my son's clothes and my son loved my daughter's clothes, and they just naturally gravitated towards each other's wardrobes. And I started observing that around age 4, 3 to 4. They were starting to dress themselves, pick out their own clothes. And there was just so much innocence and joy in what they were choosing to put on their bodies. And it just really lit an idea up inside of me that our kids should be dressing for joy, not for gender. And that really started the idea for my brand and my business.
Cool. And so what came first? Was it obviously the idea for it, but then you went into creating the book. How has that journey been into deciding, this is the next step, or was that always kind of the plan? Like how did it all start with, I'm going to start the LLC? I don't know. Tell us about the journey.
Gosh, it's been a windy road. So I actually had no intention of starting a business. I'll start there.
Okay.
I had no intention of starting a business. I had a business before. And when my kids turned 5, we moved out of the city and moved into the country. And my goal was really honestly to focus on just, parenting my twins and being as present as I can. And then I thought I should write books. Actually, I had the idea to write children's books because there aren't that many books about multiples, about children's stories about multiples and twins in particular. So I sort of thought, well, that's a great path for me. I really would love to learn more creative writing. But then I had the idea for the business. And so I ended up prioritizing that only because it just became a calling that became louder and louder. I had, like I said, no intention of starting the business, but I am a designer by trade. And so that I was like, well, I think I'm going to play around with it and see what I could do. And what would I create if I had my own clothing line? What would the kids' clothing line look like? So I started to play around with that idea. And then the idea just grew and grew. And that's how I ended up starting the business. And then the book came much later, actually. It came about, well, not much later. It came probably like 2 years into the business. And the idea to write a children's book that goes along with the message of the brand, which is all about individuality and being authentic to yourself, really flowed out of me very easily. And so I all of a sudden had a book that I needed to publish. So it became this really interesting journey of creativity and really looking into my own creativity and what I felt really called to do, and starting the business, running the business, and then having a book and a song actually is all part of the whole brand mission and story.
So awesome. So tell us more about the book. Give us the name. Where is it available? What is it about more specifically? I love the name.
Yeah, the book is called Me Is All I Want to Be, and that is the brand tagline. And it's a story about a fun-loving snake that loves to ride a skateboard and loves hanging out with his friends. And he also really loves graphic t-shirts. So his desire to wear a graphic t-shirt is something that he works through in the book because he doesn't have arms. He feels very self-conscious, but he really wants to wear a t-shirt. So the story, it really is very sweet. He ends up finding support with a friend and overcomes his fears. So it's all about overcoming limiting beliefs, stepping outside of your comfort zone, and really being true and authentic to yourself. So it's a really wonderful story that goes perfectly with the brand and the mission. And I'm really very proud of it.
Very nice. I love it. I love and it's so accessible to kids to understand, especially with the snake and the t-shirt. That is so cool. How did the song come to be, and how can people access the song?
Yeah, so the song, it came to be because I just thought one day, wouldn't it be great if there was a song that also went with this book? I love music, and I was actually on another podcast with a children's songwriter. Her name is Alana Banana, and she has a really great channel for children's singing. And so I reached out to her and asked if she would be interested in co-writing a song. And she immediately said yes. And it happened from there. My twins are singing the background vocals of the song, which is also very sweet. The song is also called Me Is All I Want to Be. So there's a big thread through all of it. And you can download the song on Apple Music, on Spotify, anywhere you get your music sources from. So it's a really sweet, fun, great song for kids. It will get stuck in your head,
Warning.
which is a good thing. Yeah, warning, but also not bad.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a message for adults as well. I mean, I think we're all striving to be authentic to ourselves at all times. And that was really important to me as well, is to create a message that parents could also resonate with, along with the journey of the brand, the book, and now the song.
Yeah. And that's such a testament about how entrepreneurship can really help us dive into our creativity and our message and our mission. With you saying you have an artistic background, but I think the ability to connect with people like you connected with the songwriter and collaborating in such a way to bring things to life. That's also so cool about the journeys, that you don't have to do it all by yourself. Hardly ever do you anyways, because we need support and help from others. So that's super cool. So I'll make sure and put that in the show notes for people to check out the book and also take a look at the song and download the song as well. So what is next? Because you were talking about the clothing line, and I know you're doing more speaking and visibility to spread the word. What are some of your plans for the future?
Well, that's a great question. I definitely want to write another book, a children's book. So there's a series that I have in mind. So I'll be working on another book. I'm also definitely going to be doing more thought leadership, more public speaking, which is great. And I'm also excited about where Stereotype Kids is going to go next, which will be into collaborations. So I'm working on that and bringing that in as much as I can. So Yeah, it's certainly an interesting journey running a business, like I said, especially when you had no intention of starting one and then you find yourself on the entrepreneurial journey, and the way it forces you to grow and learn about yourself is, definitely something I never anticipated, but also feel, very fortunate to experience.
Mhm.
It's truly a blessing to be able to express yourself creatively and to create a product that you feel really proud of, and then, see where the journey takes you. So it's been an
Right.
interesting ride for sure.
Absolutely. What were some of the challenges that you faced, whether it be, with the writing, or did you do the illustrations for the book? Tell me more about the process, because I know authors, especially when it comes to children's book or fiction, they run into some specific challenges that nonfiction may not run into. So I'd love to hear about the journey from that.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be my next guest on the Empowered Woman podcast? Do you have a story you'd like to share? Want more visibility for your business on a show ranked in the top 0.5% in the world? Well, then head on over to martasburke.com/podcast guest for more information.
Well, it was quite a journey. And because I'm an independent author, I think, that in and of itself was a journey, because you don't know what you don't know. And that was certainly where I was at. So the book is, I did not illustrate the book. I hired an illustrator. And that was certainly part of the journey, getting that creative idea and vision out there. I knew what I wanted the book to look like. So really trying to communicate that is sometimes difficult, because you have a vision in your head and sometimes it doesn't always translate. So but I am actually really proud of the way the book looks. I think the illustrations are really great. And I feel, great about that direction. But, the challenges of, just like I said, not knowing what you don't know, and then trying to navigate a whole new world. I didn't realize until fairly recently, the book just came out in June, that I started a whole new business with being an author. I didn't put that together until much later. I was like, oh, I actually started a whole new business, a whole new side of myself.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the great things about being an entrepreneur, is that you end up discovering sides of yourself you never would have if you were, working for someone else or doing something else. So I think that's been a big surprise for me. Certainly there's been many challenges, but, like anything, any journey, you rise to those challenges and you move past them as much as you can. So yeah, I'm sure you can relate.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot that goes on when you're writing and you want it to be, a certain way. So, and being a designer, I'm, very self-aware of how I want things to look. And, I hold pretty close parameters to a certain design eye. So, that was a bit of a challenge for me as well. But in the end, I'm really happy and proud of the book.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. And it is so true. You get to explore sides of yourself that you wouldn't have otherwise, just because you have the chance, but also opportunities start coming up. You mentioned on What's Next is doing collaborations with other businesses. For our listeners that may have a business that would want to collaborate with you, what does that look like? What are some of the people you're collaborating with or looking to collaborate with when it comes to this message and what you're doing?
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. I would love to do shoes. I think it would be really fun to do kids' shoes. Also accessories. There's not a lot of accessories for boys, and I think that's an area that would be really great.
Okay.
And well, for boys and for girls, but in general, I think it would be great to do accessories.
Mhm.
And really, any kind of collaboration that has to do with backpacks or lunch boxes, I think those are just areas that would be really fun for me creatively to get involved in. So, but I'm open to, doing the song was a great collaboration, and that was something I hadn't really planned on. It was just like an idea, like, oh, I wonder if I could actually have a song written. And then following that inspiration, led me to creating a song that's now available. So I'm open to any kind of creative collaboration as long as it aligns with the brand and the vision.
Yeah, that's awesome. What has the feedback been? Because you released the book pretty recently, but so far, how have people been receiving it, and how have you been promoting it?
Well, the book's been received really well. There's been a lot of positive feedback about just how much the story resonates with children and adults, right? Stepping outside your comfort zone, challenging yourself, looking for support and community. I think those are all things that really resonate, especially now.
Mhm.
And the song as well, like I said, it's a very catchy tune. It's very sweet, and it's really wonderful to hear repeatedly from adults that they really resonate with the message and really love the message for themselves. So that's always been a surprise for me. I get that with my brand as well, with my clothing brand. I hear from adults so often, when are you going to do the adult line? So it's something that I would also love to do in the future, is do adult clothing. I do have t-shirts and hoodies for adults, but I would love to design a collection for adults as well. Because again, it's about gender inclusivity. Um, I coined the term blended fashion. So I blend masculine and feminine elements into the clothing. And I think that's really important. And inclusivity is really important right now in our culture. So that's something I'm really proud of supporting and advocating for.
Mhm. So where can people find more on the designs? Is that, and obviously the book too, and the song, is that all on your website for them
It's all
to
on
check?
my website, stereotypekids.com. You can buy the book there. You can check out and buy the products, the clothing there. The song is probably best to go to Spotify or iTunes. But you can find it on my website as well. And yeah, it's all right there waiting for you.
Yay, awesome. And how have the kids reacted to it? Obviously, they participated in the song, but within the process, were they aware of what was going on? Remind me how old they are.
They're 12
Okay.
and they are co-founders of Stereotype as well. I don't think I mentioned that, but they
Oh,
are
yeah.
co-founders of the brand, and I made them co-founders back in 2022. I launched the business in 2020, but I made them co-founders in 2022 because they are literally the DNA of the brand. And I really thought it was important for them to be involved because they are watching me build a business. And I think it's really important when you see your parent work on a dream and try and make that come true. So they've, as far as the song goes, they were really excited about it. They recorded it. They sang their little hearts out. It's wonderful to hear them, this sort of time capsule as well of them at that time frame
Yeah.
when we recorded the song. So they love it. They've been promoting it a little bit here and there on social media when I allow them to hop on social media with me. So it's been really wonderful for them. It's been a big confidence booster for them as well. They're really proud of the business. They know that they're the inspiration. So they've really been with me since the beginning, and so they're really growing along with me on this journey.
That is awesome. And I know, especially with the internet and social media, more and more kids have been showing their entrepreneurial side. Because I think even before, typically people are like, I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur, or I didn't know, but looking back, I used to have a lemonade stand, right? Or whatever. I would sell things like this. It kind of starts in childhood, anyways. But I think with social media and stuff, kids are able to put it out there even sooner in more elaborate ways. Have they expressed interest in starting something of their own or given you specific ideas since they are co-founders anyway?
Yeah, so I'll give you a specific example. My son loves drawing. He draws every single day. There's not a day that goes by he does not draw, and he drew some of the artwork for the book. So there's some artwork of his in the book, and my daughter Chloe, she actually drew the t-shirt that the snake ends up wearing in the end of the story of the book. And I had that t-shirt produced. So you can actually buy the t-shirt that goes along with the book and the story. So they are creatively involved. They always have ideas. They always have feedback. In the very beginning, when I started making the clothing, they were testing out the clothing. They were playing in it, making sure that the wear and tear would hold up. So they've been involved in the process the entire time, which is why I was like, well, I need to make them co-founders because they're really involved in a lot of the steps to create the business, and it just made sense. And it's been wonderful to just see them excited. And my daughter says that she would love to have her own business. She wants to have her own cafe. She wants to be a farmer. She wants to be an artist. So she's she's like me. She does, like, I want to do everything.
Mhm.
And my son also, has expressed his own creative interests and doing his own thing. But I'm just leaving them to discover that for themselves.
Oh, that is so cool. I love that they're super involved and enjoying it too, right? And exploring the different sides of themselves. That is super cool. Well, you already told us that we can go to the website. Where do you hang out the most on socials for people to connect with you if they want to, share their thoughts on the book, or if for the ones that would like to collaborate based on the things that you shared with us, how can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at stereotypekids.com again, and then you can also sign up for our newsletter there, and you can reach us directly there as well. And our social channel is Stereotype Kids Official on Instagram. So that's probably where you'll find me the most, and you can reach out directly.
Okay, awesome. Well, before we wrap up, I like asking all of my guests my $1,000,000 question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Elizabeth, what is an empowered woman to you?
An empowered woman is someone who is striving to be in full alignment with themselves and to be truly authentic with themselves, even when it's scary. So it's following your heart, listening to your intuition, and ultimately being the very best that you can for you.
I love that. It's being in alignment with who you are and following your dreams. Absolutely. Which is, I always love that when I ask this question, people tend to describe themselves, which, you just described yourself. It's what you've been doing, experimenting and exploring different things. So congrats on putting it out there, even when it's scary and challenging, and paving the way for your kids, right? And for other kids as well with the brand. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends, or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.